the cars that we had driven onto the lot, from the crib to get to the gym to play the game, they're gone. We're just like,
hey yo, what the fuck?
What's good, people? It's been a minute, but I'm back with another episode of They Wild. You see what the title says? Let's get straight into it, man. Tune in, tap in, strap in, do whatever you got to do. Do it right here, do it right now. Come on, man. You know the drill. Let's get it. So this is during my third year pro. I was just coming off an injury the previous season. Had to get a second surgery done to do some corrective stuff, which basically forced me to look for a new club midway through the season. So this new club that I signed with already had a little bit of a bad reputation in the league. Rumors were bouncing around that they didn't have their finances straight. Operations were a little bit janky too. Antenna went up a little bit, but I was like, man, they paying well. Regardless, if the money is late, maybe just a day or two or whatever. Fuck it, you know what I mean? I need a job. I got a job. Let me sign the deal, Plus, I wasn't anywhere near competition ready. I remember this vividly. I had surgery on the 22nd. I was still in the hospital on the 23rd. On the 24th, I had checked myself out. And on the 24th, I actually signed a deal, with this new team, which they thought they were getting a healthy player, someone who was like 80%, 90% healthy, and definitely somebody who could immediately contribute to the team. That wasn't me. Once I arrived, they hooked me up with all the standard things that you get, as a new player. They hooked me up with, my practice gear. They gave me the key to the crib. And of course, they gave me the key to the car, my new whip or whatever, because I got to get, to and from practice or whatever. Usually clubs have one car sponsor or a dealership that supplies, the team with all of the cars, the vehicles, the coaches, trainers, and all that good stuff or whatever. And if you've ever been around like a European club or whatever, those are the cars that have like the huge stickers, like the team logo is on it. Because I came late, I didn't get one of those. I just had a regular car, a clean car, no decals on it and anything like that. It's not that unusual for one player or two players who came later in the season not to have the decals, right? So I wasn't alarmed at the fact that I didn't have decals. It's definitely welcomed by players to not have decals because you just don't want to be in the limelight nonstop, right? I was happy that I didn't have that, but I was a little bit alerted that the dealership that had given me the car was a different dealership than what everybody else's car was. And so I was like, that's a little odd right there. So I'll come to find out that the reason why I had a different car from a different dealership than everybody else's was because at the first dealership, they refused to give out another car because the club had been delinquent on their payments, right? And when I say delinquent, it wasn't like a day or a week or whatever. It was like multiple months. So the dealership was like, yo, man, we got 10 cars out here and you asking for 11th and you not holding up the end of the bargain, you done. Because I had just gotten there though, I had no idea that any of this was going on, right? So I'm completely blindsided by all of this. So we deep in it now, or should I say the club is deep in it now, right? They are definitely in trouble. Everybody knows about it. I think the city, they started auditing and stuff like that. They would send inspectors through the club while we were having practice and all that crazy stuff. The newspaper starts reporting on it or whatever, kind of explaining the situation, what was happening from the outside looking in. And we were just like, oh, this is a lot worse because of course the club is not going to tell us anything. And we didn't really care all that much because we were still getting paid, right? Yes, it was late, maybe a week or two, but we were still getting our money. Then, mind you, this is a couple weeks later. We were in practice and all of a sudden the city just cut the heat off. This is in the middle of probably February in northern Germany, right? So it's brick. So by this time, cat's out the bag. Everybody knows we're in trouble. The club is going down like Fraser. It's all bad. It's just all bad. The next thing that happened was probably the biggest thing was insurance. So every club has insurance, of course, right? So they insure their players. And if you get hurt, on the way to practice, on the way back from practice, or anything that happens on the court during the game or whatever the case may be, the club is responsible, or the club's insurance is responsible for any cost, that you might have, let's say for rehab or surgery if you required or whatever the case may be, right? The insurance that the club is running with, they cover all that stuff. Come to find out, the club is of course not paying the insurance company either. So the insurance company is just you know what, boom, yeah, cut off, nothing, nobody's insured. The club in turn didn't tell none of the players, so nobody was insured really.
We don't know what the hell is going on right now.
There are some players who had different situations going on. Local players, for example, they were protected by the state, you know what I'm saying? Because they were local nationals or whatever. But for the players that came from the United States, the club was just like,
look, what's the name of your insurance company? Your fault.
The cool part about us finding out though was we were actually on the road, right? We had a road game and we were just about to take the court. We had already been warming up. We went back to the locker room one last time, you know, coaches doing strategy and whatnot. And so during that time was when everybody's phone was going off. And so we start checking the phones and the agents, they go crazy. They're like, yo, you're my player. I'm telling you, I don't care what they say. I don't care what your coach says. I don't care what anybody says. You do not set foot on this fucking court, because if you do and you're not insured, you're just SOL. So we have a gang of players that ended up not playing. I was one of those lucky guys that wasn't affected by the insurance situation. And so I was like, shit. We have like 6 active players on the roster. I'm about to go off. Like this is my opportunity here where I am going to get a lot of playing time and I can really show that I still got it. So first quarter, I'll come out. I'm like, yaga. Like I'm letting that shit fly. You know what I mean? Bro, I'm talking like Trey Young, except I was looking like Trey Old out there. Man, when I tell you, I probably went 1 for 5 from 3, like 1 for 3 from the field. It was probably the worst 10 minutes of my life that I ever put together on the court. So fast forward to the actual part of the story. The club had been putting on this front for the public that everything was straight, right? Talking about, oh, they're trying to alienate us, like in the press, because, you know, the owners having business dealings with the city and the city's trying to back out. Whatever excuses that they were given, that's the excuses that they were given. They tried to back those excuses by, of course, the heat was on. VIP section was like laid out. Everything was like just, you know, cream of the crop type of situation. And so home games were straight, you know what I mean? Fans were in attendance. Everything was good, you know what I'm saying? We were winning. I think at the time we were like 3rd in the league. Anyway, so we played this game. I don't even remember if we won or lost. Who would remember with all this craziness going on, right? Anyway, so we're in the locker room. We showering up. We all kind of like leave at the same time. And so we leave the gym, we walk onto the parking lot. There's like a separate section for the players and their cars. So we walk towards that section and it's just empty. Like the cars that we had driven onto the lot, you know, from the crib to get to the gym to play the game, they're gone. We're just like,
what the fuck?
see, I'm knowing already though, and I think all my other teammates, they knew already too. Like, of course, nobody like stole our cars. No car thief is gonna be like, yeah, let me get the most obvious car and steal that bitch. Like, that's not gonna happen. Somebody took them shits because they didn't pay the bills. Lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. The crazy part about it is the dealership, they had tried to get those cars back from the club. They had been, you know, sending them ultimatums like, yo man, have your players drop them bitches off on our property, give us the keys, and we done with y'all. The club owners, they just ignored them. So the dealership had gotten a bunch of their employees together with the spare keys, drove onto the arena's parking lot because they knew we had a home game, right? They looked at the schedule. They knew that we were all going to be there and we were all going to be there at the same time, which meant that their cars were all going to be there and all at the same time, right? So they went there, got their cars, drove them bitches off the fucking lot. Drove them bitches off the lot and left us with nothing. Of course, me being the asshole that came late and being the guy that had a different car from a different dealership than everybody else's, I was basically then stuck with chauffeuring duties, right? I had to chauffeur my teammates back and forth from their crib to the gym whenever we played games. So I was basically just a fucking Uber driver, you know what I mean? And not getting paid for it. So now the league gets wind of this because the agents have been involved and they just shut us down. The owners are nowhere to be found. We were just all right, man, let's just go home and wait for our money, I guess. And then one random day, my doorbell rings. And I'm just like,
Who the fuck are you?
some serious looking people. It was like one chick and probably like 2 other guys that looked official. They were in civvies, but they looked like, they looked official. So I'm thinking I'm in trouble, right? That's my initial thought. Like, I see police and I'm just like, oh shit, like what's happening? Why are they coming to my door? So I open the door, they right in my face, asking me all these questions. Are you so-and-so? Yes, I am. Are you a professional basketball player? Yes, I am. Did you play for this and that club? Yes, I did. Come to find out that they were on an active manhunt for the club's owner and his wife, which, they ran the club together because they had fled the country, right? And they were asking anybody who had any type of clues on, their whereabouts and anything like that. And I'm like, shit, man, you tell me, shit, he ain't here because that motherfucker owe me money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's definitely not going to hide out in my crib. So come to find out, this dude and his wife went somewhere outside of the European Union's jurisdiction, ended up in Tunisia somewhere or Algeria. I don't know if they caught him. I don't know if he came back to Germany, if he's doing jail time or anything like that. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. If you're a player that's, getting ready to sign with the club and you hear some, funky business about them, take that stuff seriously, man, for real. And especially now in today's day and age, where everybody's connected. Every club has social media. They post on a daily basis. They tag their players in those posts. You know what I'm saying? Like, just hit a player up. 9 times out of 10, those players are going to be forthcoming and tell you the truth about whatever the situation is. Anyway, that was episode 3 of They Wild. Check out some of the earlier ones to see some of the other crazy stuff that, I've experienced in my years as a professional, basketball player overseas. And make sure you subscribe to this channel because I got more stories in the clip. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, and quit smoking them goddamn layups, man.